inspiring interviews with today's top landlords. This is the Rental Income Podcast. And now, Dan Lane.
My guest on the podcast today was inspired by Dave Ramsey and his debt snowball concept. If you're not familiar with how the debt snowball works, we'll get into it in more detail here during the podcast, but it's basically a way that Dave Ramsey teaches people to pay off their credit cards and car loans and other consumer debts. But my guest is using those same concepts to pay off his rental portfolio. So he's got a real interesting strategy. I want to get into more detail and see exactly what he's doing. He's also got a real unique way that he's financing rental properties. So we'll get into all that, figure out exactly what he's doing. First, we need to get a word in from our sponsor. We'll come back in 30 seconds, and we'll meet Hiron Fernando from Dallas.
Are you having a hard time finding great investment properties? Unfortunately, the best deals are rarely found locally. Successful investing begins with the right properties in the right markets. NORAD Real Estate provides everything you need to invest in the best deals across the U.S. Our simple, proven system will help you create real wealth and passive monthly cash flow. Get your free copy of the ultimate guide to passive real estate investing at noradarealestate.com/guide. That's NORADA realestate.com/guide.
Why don't we start with you telling us what your portfolio looks like today?
Yeah, so portfolio mostly has kind of the bread and butter 322 type properties.
That's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2 half baths.
Right. And two car garage.
2 car garage. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I find just in my market, I find that people like to have a, garage.
Sure.
And then after that, I am in a, sub-market of the Dallas area, and, really it's probably about a 15 to 20 mile radius from where I live, probably about 15 miles really, within a 20-minute drive of all of my properties. And then, the other criteria is that, along with that is the location. It needs to be a good location, no D-class type properties, even C- really. I'm really looking for a good quality location that has potential upward trajectory. And then the last thing is it needs to be the right deal. The numbers need to make sense from a financial perspective. So I'm not getting emotional about the purchase. So it needs to have good numbers.
Is there a certain cash flow target that you're looking for each property?
Yeah, Dan, it's typically in about the $100 a month range.
Okay.
From free cash flow, and it can vary here and there, but the one thing I will say is that all of my properties have a 15-year note on it, so that does push my cash flow down. So I have to work that much harder to be able to get a property that has the $100,
so
because everyone else is doing a 30-year mortgage.
Right. So a 15-year note. So is your long-term goal to get everything paid off?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I want to get everything paid off as quickly as I can. If I can get it done quicker than the 15 years, then that's awesome, because I'm one step closer to the financial independence.
Right.
I'll be able to collect more of my revenue for income, as living cost, expense. So
yeah, I mean,
I want to pay it off as quick as I can.
I think you've got a great strategy, because leverage is awesome, and you definitely need leverage to build out your portfolio. But to get real cash flow, I mean, you just make so much more money if you don't have debt on the properties. So I think that's good. So you're sacrificing cash flow today for cash flow down the road in 15 years. And actually probably less than 15 years, because you've been at this for a few years.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, I want to talk a little bit about kind of my strategy on how I've been.
So let's get into this. Yeah. Tell me exactly how your strategy works.
Okay. Yeah. So really I use, so it's Dave Ramsey's debt snowball effect. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I love leverage. I think that's one of the coolest things about real estate, is that you can easily get leverage on the property. But the other side of it, of leverage, is that I'm doing it for financial independence at some point. So what I'm trying to do is to get as many loans paid down as quickly as I can, and get all of them paid off quickly, and then I'll have free cash flow. So the way it works is, if I think about 3 different loans that I have, just throw out some numbers. So if you have $25,000 loan, $50,000, and then $100,000 balance on all of them, well, I'm going to try to tackle the one with the lowest balance. So like the one with $25,000, I'm going to tackle that one as quickly as I can and get it paid off as quickly as I can. So
you're not you don't care about the one with the highest interest rate. You're just looking at the smallest balance.
That's exactly right.
Awesome.
Whichever one has the lowest balance, then I'm going to tackle that with my cash flow, my monthly cash flow. All of that cash flow that I get, I put it to principal only payments to get the balance down quickly. And then, so once you get that paid off, let's say that $25,000 mortgage had a $300 monthly payment. Well, once that's paid off, I'll be able to put that $300 to work on the next lowest mortgage, the $50,000 one, and get that one paid off as quickly as I can. And then, you're snowballing on itself. And then you work on the $100,000 one, and you're done, within, 10 years, rather than the 15. And so that's a really cool way to be disciplined about it, but get it paid off.
I love the snowball concept. I think it's so powerful, and you really start getting momentum. I mean, once you start to have 2 or 3 properties paid off, those properties are putting off so much cash flow every month. When you're going to attack the next property, it's not going to take long to pay that off. So I think that's really awesome. Now, walk me through exactly how you protect yourself, because you're going to have maintenance from time to time, or you're going to have some kind of repairs or vacancies. How do you make sure that you've got enough money to deal with whatever might come at you?
Yeah. And that's a good question. So it's a 2-part thing. So the first part of it is that I am managing these properties with a property management company. So they're handling everything for me. So they usually just do the repair costs from the revenue that I make. So, whatever rent I'm receiving, they'll pay off any repairs that I have from that income that I have. So that's one way. The second way is that I have a rainy day fund. It's just a index fund from Vanguard. And I have, every month out of my cash flow, I put $500 away into that rainy day fund. And so it's grown over time. And I think I have, $20,000 or so in there now. So if anything ever goes wrong, I can tap into that fund and make a payment from there. So
but you probably wouldn't have to, because you've got all your properties with the same property manager. So if something came up, or you had a rehab you had to do on a rental property, your manager is just going to pay you less money that month.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly right.
That's really awesome. Now, you said you have it in an index fund, so it's not like in a savings account. Like you're putting this into a stock fund?
It is, yeah. It's a stock fund, and kind of going back to my experience of investing in the stock market when I was in college. So, it can be volatile, but it's not nearly as volatile as an individual stock, as in if I just went out and bought Tesla or something stock, that can be very much up and down. But an index fund has a little bit more protection. But yeah, absolutely, it can definitely go down in value. It can jump around. But I am using a dollar cost averaging concept, to where I'm putting money whether into the fund every month at the first of the month. It's an auto draw. So whether the market's high or low, I'm still putting in that $500. So it averages out over time.
Okay. So you've got $500 that you're putting aside. And then do you make a monthly payment with your excess cash flow towards attacking that first mortgage? Or do you save it up and make a payment after a few months?
No, I do it every month. I mean, it's just all about being disciplined, So I find that if I'm able to get into a habit of every month, I'm making, typical month, making like probably about a $2,000 to $3,000 principal only payment. And it's something that, I have to email somebody about. It doesn't happen automatically, because each month cash flow can change.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a habit, and I love doing that. It's like the highlight of my month, because I'm attacking that loan balance, and I can see it dramatically decreasing, very quickly. And so that gets me really motivated and just one step closer to financial independence.
Yeah. You know what I think is interesting is that you're definitely doing the Dave Ramsey approach where, Dave Ramsey teaches how to use this mainly to pay off credit card debt, not for rental properties, but Dave Ramsey hates leverage, so I wonder if Dave Ramsey would be upset that you were using his program to pay off a rental property, or if you'd be proud of
probably
you.
So. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I love leverage. It's amazing. It to be able to get a property for just 20% down. I mean, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And your tenant's buying the house for you. Every month their rent payment is helping you buy the house. So I love leverage, but I want to get rid of it as quickly as I can as well, to be able to enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Coming up on the Rental Income Podcast.
Hiron has a really unique strategy that he's using to finance his rentals. We're going to get into exactly what he's doing here in just a second, but first I want to take a second and thank our sponsor today, mylandlordhelper.com. If you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed managing your rental portfolio, or maybe you've got a property manager that you're not happy with, My Landlord Helper can help you out. They've got a bunch of different ways that they can help you. The first is they have a 24/7 call center. So if your tenant has an issue, whether it's 2 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, someone is there to take that phone call and help the tenant out, whether it's getting a maintenance person out there or answering any questions or concerns they may have. They can make sure you're getting paid. Of course, that's the most important part of owning rental properties. If the tenant doesn't pay, they can send out late notices, make phone calls, text messages, whatever they got to do to make sure you're getting paid. They'll send you a statement every month showing you a breakdown of everything, makes tax time super easy. If you want to find out more, just go to mylandlordhelper.com. They're offering a free 30-day trial so you can test drive their services. It takes just about 60 seconds to get set up. So check it out, mylandlordhelper.com. That's mylandlordhelper.com. All right, let's get back to the interview. So, Hiron, when you're buying rentals, you're using the BRRRR strategy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I am. So,
So
buying.
Well, walk me through, like, say your most recent property. Where did you find the deal?
Okay, yeah. So the most recent one, it was through a wholesaler. Basically, they're just sending you emails, and they have all the information about the property, and so that's basically I found the property from them and went to see it, and it looked like it was a good deal. So I went through with it. And actually that one, a little bit of a caveat is it was a subject to deal. So it was subject to the existing mortgage.
Okay. So you in that case, you took over the mortgage from the person you're buying it from. But in general, you use a line of credit to buy your properties?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'll typically start off with buying it in all cash. So I'm usually using my line of credit to be able to purchase the property. And then once I'm done purchasing it, I'll do the renovations, get it rented out, and then I'll go into a refinance with my local lender. It's a portfolio lender that I use. And so then I'll do a refinance to be able to get a majority of my cash back. So they do 85% loan to value.
Okay.
I'm sorry, loan to cost. 85% loan to cost. So that's my typical approach.
Now, your line of credit, explain to me how this works, because this isn't like a HELOC or a line of credit on your primary house. This is a line of credit you have that's against your rental portfolio?
That's right. Yeah. So the way it works is that this is a commercial lender. So this is a commercial loan product. And so the way they work is you have multiple properties cross-collateralized together. So, the first lien position is for the permanent financing, like the 15-year note that I have. And then the second lien position is for the same bank, but it's for the line of credit. So you're able to get a line of credit on the amount that you have. That's the difference from the principal balance that you have to the appraised value. Whatever the difference is, basically the equity that you have in the property, you're able to get a line of credit on that difference.
Yeah, I love that. So you've got equity that's spread out among all your properties, and you're able to draw into that equity to acquire another property.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and the line of credit is probably the most powerful tool that I have in the tool bag, because you can get money at any point and unlimited draws that you want, and the interest rate for me it's prime +1. So right now I think it's 5.5% interest only. So it's great. I'm able to quickly close on a house within 5 days because I have cash, and then you just refinance it later. And keep doing it again.
When you refi it, you're refining it with the same local bank, the same community bank is refining it. Okay. And now what about what kind of fees are involved with buying the house and tapping into the line of credit? And then when you put permanent financing on, so you're doing two closings there. Does that get costly?
Yeah, so the way it works then is I have the line of credit already established, right? So it has a certain amount of balance, and so that's established. When I buy the house, that's of course a separate transaction. You go through your normal closing costs. So typical closing costs for me on buying the house, it's 0.25% origination fees, and then we do a $100 appraisal. It's a drive-by appraisal. So that's to buy the house.
Okay.
For the line of credit, that is separate, and there are fees. It's not like a HELOC where you have those promotional rates. It's no closing costs.
Right.
It's not like that.
Okay.
So the loan company, the mortgage provider, they do need to be on the deed of trust as having a second lien position. To do that, you have to go through a closing. So what I usually do is once I have 5 properties or so ready, I'll cross-collateralize all of those and do a blanket closing on all of those all at once. And so it can be expensive, because you're going through the owner's title policy, lender's title policy, and doing all those typical closing costs. It can be $1,000 to $2,000 or so to do that closing. Yeah.
And then once you get the permanent financing on there, then you're starting the snowball, or then it's added to your snowball lineup.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's right.
That is awesome. Now, so tell me about what kind of work you need to do when you buy a property. Are these properties that you're buying, do they need like a total gut rehab, or is it mainly cosmetic, paint, carpet type stuff?
Yeah, it runs the gamut, honestly. Like I've done projects where it's complete gut job, and we're in an older area, so 1960s, 70s types houses had a lot of walls and very closed off, sectional, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's knocking down walls, opening it all up, putting in new HVACs, new roofs, all of that, so it kind of runs the gamut. But every house I've purchased, I've had to do probably the minimum that I spend is like $5,000,
And
no matter what, there's stuff to do. So.
That rehab money, do you have to pay that out of pocket, or can you use the line of credit for that too?
Yeah, that line of credit. I definitely use the line of credit for that. And then it also gets rolled up into the permanent financing that I use. So it's all rolled up, and then that's where you get 85% of my cost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think you've got a great strategy. I love that you're using the BRRRR strategy, and then you're also using the debt snowball. I mean, it's really basic what you're doing. It seems so simple, but I love that it's working out. And so how close are you to getting your first property paid off?
Yeah, so I'm getting really close. I'm probably about 7 months away from getting the first one completely paid off. So I'm really excited about that. That is awesome.
Yeah. Well, keep up the good work. I'm really happy to hear that you're doing things right. So congratulations and keep up the great work.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
If the snowball concept is interesting to you, I've got 2 other episodes that you should check out. The first one is episode number 128 from October 31st of 2017. Scott Strong was our guest, and he built his entire portfolio using the snowball. He never used any debt. That's kind of the difference in his story. He bought his first property with cash, and then he used the cash flow from that property to buy another property. And he just kind of kept doing this, and now he's got a really big portfolio that he has no debt on. The other episode to check out is way back on July 1st of 2015 with Steve Eliff. It's episode number 41. Steve basically started doing this 15, 20 years ago. He started using the same concept that we talked about today, using 15-year mortgages and getting those mortgages paid down. And Steve has paid off his entire portfolio using the debt snowball. And it's a really inspiring story. And Steve he gives some really awesome information on that show. And I probably need to get him back on here. It's been a while. I didn't realize it was back in 2015, the last time he was on the show. But definitely check that one out. I will put links to those shows, as well as a link to Hiron's email address. You can find it at rentalincomepodcast.com/episode 145. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for subscribing to the show. We'll be back with a new episode next Tuesday. My name is Dan Lane, and this has been the Rental Income Podcast.